Welcome. You're tuned into Tangled Threads. If you're digging our content, hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you. My wife Charlotte and me had talked about getting rid of this big, clunky wooden cabinet for weeks. It was old, heavy as hell, and we wanted to make way for something more modern. So, we planned to leave it on the curb for citywide cleanup day. One day, after a grueling shift at work, I came home and found that monstrosity already waiting outside for the garbage collectors. Baffled, I asked Charlotte about it, and she said that Mark from 5 doors down had helped her move it. Mark? Mark with the biceps and penchant for taking long walks with his over-energetic golden retriever? I found it incredibly odd. Charlotte never moved heavy objects on her own. In fact, she'd normally wait for me. But Mark? This was some suspicious shit. She said he was out walking the dog when he saw her struggling to move it to the road by herself. Yeah, right. A web of doubt began to form in my mind. Was there something going on between my wife and beefy Mark? The man who, to my knowledge, only seemed passionate about his dog and probably protein shakes? I needed evidence. I wasn't just going to accuse her of cheating on a mere hunch. Cue the most Hollywood-inspired idea I've ever had. I plant an audio recorder in our bedroom. A quick search online, and I found one tiny enough to be discreet, yet powerful enough to record for hours. It came in the next day, thank God for express delivery. I set it up behind a picture frame on our bedroom shelf. Charlotte would never find it there. She hadn't dusted that shelf in months. For 3 days, I left for work with a feeling of dread, hoping to not find anything incriminating, yet needing to know the truth. Each evening, I'd transfer the recordings to my computer and then listen to them on my breaks at work. And on that fateful 3rd day, I heard it. The muffled sounds of Mark's voice, their laughter, and then the unmistakable sounds of intimacy. My heart pounded in my ears. The weight of betrayal pressed down on me. I felt a cold anger boiling inside, mixed with profound sadness. I left work immediately. When I stepped into my own house, there was Mark, standing in my kitchen, shirtless. The audacity. Without a word, I lunged at him, and a primal rage took over. My fist met his jaw, sending him stumbling over the dining room table. I climbed over, each punch a manifestation of my betrayal. I felt like a wild animal defending its territory. Gasping for breath, I eventually stepped back, leaving Mark sprawled on the floor, bleeding and disoriented. I then grabbed him by his hair and dragged his raggedy ass outside, where I gave him a fair amount of bitch slapping for good measure. Then, retrieving my phone from my pocket, I began recording a video, explaining to the world why I'd turned my driveway into a makeshift boxing ring. It felt important, in that surreal moment, to have some record of the madness. I went back inside and could hear Charlotte's sobs from our bedroom, but as much as the anger churned inside me, I had never and would never lay a hand on her. Storming into the bedroom, I found her huddled on the bed. "Pack your things," I barked, "and get your ass out of here and never come back." She pleaded, tears streaming down her face, begging for another chance. But it was over. The trust had shattered, replaced only by the echo of her betrayal. I told her she was dead to me. Don't call me, don't text me, just keep your whore mouth shut and never even speak my name again. I think I got my point across, but this wasn't over yet. I grabbed my phone again, navigating to Facebook. It was time for Mark's wife to know the kind of man she'd married. After a quick search, I found her profile. Apparently, she was an MMA gym kickboxing instructor. My lips curved into a grim smile as I sent her the video. That evening was overwhelming, and I was trying to process everything. The cacophony of emotions inside me was overwhelming. Anger, sadness, betrayal, and oddly, a dash of relief. But when I woke up, my phone was bombarded with notifications. It seemed Mark's wife, the badass kickboxer from the local MMA gym, had seen my message and the accompanying video. She replied with a string of furious messages and expletives, expressing her gratitude for unveiling the truth and promising that Mark was going to pay. I felt a mixture of pity and dark amusement thinking about Mark's already beaten state meeting, the fury of a trained kickboxer. By midday, rumors about Mark's double dose of justice had spread. Apparently his wife gave him a beating as well. I'll get to that in a moment. I even got a few text messages from neighbors and colleagues, some expressing sympathy and others relishing in the gossip of the moment. But in all honesty, it felt good to know I wasn't the only one on the receiving end of Mark's deceit. About a week later, I received a knock on the door. It was Mark's wife, Elena. Her fierce, athletic posture seemed somewhat softened, her eyes a mix of anger and sadness. "I wanted to thank you personally," she began, her voice wavering, "for letting me know. As much as it hurts, I deserve to know the truth." Then she went on to tell me what had transpired after she saw my little video. Apparently, when Elena opened her front door after watching the damning video, she said the house was eerily silent, save for the muffled sounds of running water coming from the bathroom. Pushing the door open, she found Mark, shirtless, with a fresh black eye and a swollen lip, diligently trying to clean himself up. The sight of him, especially in this pitiable state, lit a fire inside her. Her years of training at the MMA gym had not only sculpted her body, but had also instilled in her a sense of discipline and control. But seeing Mark, the man she'd committed herself to, attempting to wash away the evidence of his betrayal, something in her snapped. Without a word, she lunged at him, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him against the cold tiles. Every punch and kick she delivered was punctuated by the anguish and betrayal she felt. The bathroom echoed with the sounds of grunts, thuds, and the shattering of Mark's fragile ego. By the time Elena's rage had subsided, Mark lay on the bathroom floor, a pitiable mess of cuts, bruises, and shattered pride. The man who had thought he could play two women had met the fury of both, and it was clear he wouldn't forget the consequences anytime soon. We continued talking for a while, sharing our stories of deceit and betrayal. It was oddly therapeutic. Before she left, she mentioned, "If you ever want to pick up kickboxing or just have a coffee, let me know." She left me with a smile and a business card. In the end, Charlotte moved back in with her parents, jobless and broken. Every once in a while, I'd hear about her through mutual friends or distant relatives. The general consensus was that she regretted her actions deeply. But for me, forgiveness wasn't on the table, and it never would be. As for Mark, let's just say his reputation in the neighborhood took a nosedive. Last I heard, he was attending therapy and had moved out of town, perhaps in search of a fresh start, away from judgmental eyes and vengeful kickboxing instructors. I, on the other hand, was healing. Slowly, but surely. I actually started attending Elena's kickboxing classes, finding a new way to channel my anger and pain. And one day, after an intense session, we found ourselves at a local cafe, 2 cups of coffee in hand, laughing about the absurdities of life. Would this be a new chapter for me? Maybe, maybe not. Who knows? All I know is that the scars of betrayal still lingered, but they were fading, replaced by hope, resilience, and the ever-surprising twists of life. The day one of these relationships ends well is the day I end this channel. I'm still waiting. Anyways, let us know your thoughts in the comments section below. When you subscribe, be sure to click the notification bell. Click here for more Tangled threads.